I want to know, what are the signs that me as a mum could be looking at to prevent this and to stop this happening?
Well, do you want to start first, Sammy?
Yes, there's a few, and I think it can be quite difficult at times because some of them are very much of, you know, a typical teenager, but I was going missing from home, from school. I missed a lot of education. Things you can look at as eating disorders, a change of friends, different clothing, you know, wearing a lot of makeup. So yeah, there can be things definitely that you can look out for as well. You know, be careful on social media, around mobile phones, who they're talking to. So yeah, there's lots to be looking out for.
And that sounds like sort of general teenage advice, because when you're talking about, you know, going out and maybe becoming a little bit more angsty and changing your appearance, but in terms of actual tips, you've got a list, haven't you, for parents? And the first one is their peers. Don't ignore a sort of peer-to-peer exploitation, because it's not always a shady-looking man who's going to come into their life.
Yeah, definitely. One way to, you know, to get a child involved in exploitation is actually sending in children their own age. So as a parent, you think, well, actually, you know, it's just my child's friend, and it's so easy to do. And I remember actually saying to one of my friends, oh, well, you know, I'm going to get pictures with my boyfriend, don't want to come, it'll be a right laugh.
Yeah.
Never for one second did I think that he would go on to, you know, abuse my friend. And it's just so easy to do.
And the second one is recording evidence.
Yeah, and this is really important. You know, parents can keep a diary, and what this will do, it could help later on in a conviction. Write down absolutely everything. You know, say if your child goes missing, what time, what they're wearing, is anybody outside, you know, car registrations, when it's been reported, who have you reported it to, and keep a list of absolutely everything.
Maggie, I think one of the most difficult things for a parent to keep an eye on is technology, because all our kids are on their smartphones at all times. Yeah. Keeping conversation open is so important. So with me, you know, I worry that I threaten to take things away. Is that the wrong way to go about it?
I don't know what I would be saying, and I'm a mum. I've got 4 kids. When mine were growing up, we didn't have like mobile phones, and you know, kids today are far more aware of technology and smartphones than I ever am. But there are, you know, there are safety things you can put on your phone to see where they are. Are they where they say they should be? I'd be saying don't allow them to go up into the bedrooms and lock themselves away for hours. But that's difficult nowadays because, you know, parents are out, they're working, they're not always there. Just be switched on to, if there's, you know, things are not feeling right, they usually are not. Just be aware of what your kids are doing, is that what I would say.
And enlisting help.
Yeah.
Where do you go for help?
I would just like to say that the help for the kids that are in danger shouldn't just come from parents. That as a society and as a community, we are all responsible for protecting our kids. So if you're...
Not all kids have a parental environment or climate, do they?
And that's what I've seen, that very often the kids that are vulnerable are the ones that are perhaps, not all of them, but perhaps roaming the streets. And, you know, as a person who cares, we all have to take on board that responsibility and look out for the kids who don't have somebody looking out for them. Yeah. You know, if you see an old, you know, a 50-year-old guy in a kebab shop with a kid who's 13 and it doesn't look right, well, go and speak to them.
And the other thing I wanted to float in, Maggie, and you'll know this as a former police officer yourself, I mean, obviously we're talking predominantly about male paedophiles today because those are the figures we have, and obviously your situation was very much involving a male gang. But women can be paedophiles too, can't they?
Yeah. They can, but in my experience...
Quite often enablers as well.
Yeah, sometimes, but I, as you know, with the Rochdale case, I had a real problem with the authorities accusing children of being enablers. For me, a 14 or a 15-year-old child is never an enabler.
No.
They are never.
No.
I know you're not implying
what
that,
I mean
Jane,
is there are females who...
Older, can they?
Adult females in relationships who bring children in.
To say, actually, in my court case, there was 2 women that was facilitators. So, yeah, that is something I think that we don't hear or talk enough of. And, of course, as a woman, you know, as a child, you automatically think, oh, well, you know, I can be safe. So.
And what about changes in your child's behaviour? Again, this is a really difficult one. If you're the parent of a prepubescent child, their behaviour is going to change.
I mean, you've got to, I would say, as a mum, but keep the lines of communication open. Don't become the enemy with your child. You know, bear in mind that the guy, the paedophile who is abusing your child, she thinks or he thinks is a boyfriend. They will love them. They will think they are in a relationship. If you become, you know, I told you so, and you become the enemy, your child will close down. So, you know, people make mistakes, kids make mistakes, but make sure that you are not shutting the door and isolating that child even further. Parent, mum, or actually it doesn't have to be a parent, as you've said. You know, it doesn't have to be a teacher, but maybe the child protection nurse in the school, maybe a close friend, even a peer group.
Yeah.
I would say as well, a good way to open the conversation is to watch 3 Girls. I think all schools should show 3 Girls because that deflects the conversation away from the child who may be being, in the early stages of being abused. They can talk about the 3 Girls, about grooming, and not draw attention to themselves, and that is invaluable. And I've known that happen.
To be honest,
Or watch what we're doing here now on Loose Women, because this is such a fantastic campaign. You know, mums, families, women, watch it with your kids.
Yeah, record this and maybe
that
play it back to your kids. You might have noticed there, all the points that we've given you build up to the word protect. So if you can try and keep those in your mind, it's peers, record evidence, open dialogue, technology, enlist help, changes and television.